Good morning. Good morning. It's the Pastor Lloyd Morning Show. We up. Great morning this morning. Our question today, is it love or is it a business arrangement? We're talking about love. We're talking about marriage. We're talking about gender roles. We're talking about all that good stuff today. So stay tuned with me. It's the Pastor Lloyd Morning Show. Good morning. So this is what I'm seeing, and I'm hoping that everybody's having a good morning so far. Maybe I should wait, but I do the countdown so everybody can come in and have time to get in. Maybe I should put some music with the countdown so y'all won't leave. I've seen people coming in and out. But what I'm seeing today, and let me preface this by a lot of times people think what you're seeing in the news is what other people are seeing in the news. And today, that is not true. It used to be, excuse me, it used to be a time where whatever you saw in the news, I'm seeing in the news because we all watching the same channels, 3, 4 channels, and we're all watching the same thing. But the truth is today is that because of social media, you may be watching something and it's coming across your news feed, your timeline. It's popping up on your YouTube videos because you know that the algorithm knows that's what you're interested in. If you go to your children's, what they've been looking at on YouTube, their channel and stuff that comes up is completely different from what comes up for yours. So we got two different perspectives on what's going on and what's being seen. Now, what I've been seeing, and you can let me know if you've been seeing this as well. But what I've been seeing is a lot of stuff concerning what they call this red pill, um, which I don't know completely what it means. But when it comes to relationships, men are starting to ask the question: What does what should a woman bring to the table? What should a man bring to the table? And I think that we've really gotten away from the biblical perspective when it comes to this and what God is trying to say. What is God trying to say in that? What does God believe about the roles of men and women? Um, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. Another thing that I've seen is that a lot of women and a lot of men are beginning to approach relationships as a business arrangement. So that's the meaning for our topic. Is it love or is it a business arrangement? And I want you guys to really let's get in on the chat, and I may leave it like that if y'all want to get in and we can set a live chat. But I want to hear from you guys. What's the difference? Is there a difference? Should you approach a relationship with a mindset of um how is this going to help me business wise, or how is this going to help me to reach my goals as a business person, or whatever they may be. I think it's true that this day and age, everybody is really concerned about themselves. Everybody wants to be in the business of me. And even some preachers I've heard it preached, if they not adding this to your life or adding that to your life, then get them out your life. And it's never about what we can add to somebody else's life. And so when we look at this thing called love, and dating and all that stuff, and I'm talking from a person who's been married for over 10 years and um, been with the same woman for 13 years. So I would not know what the dating scene is like right now. So maybe y'all can chime in if I'm, and educate me on some things. But correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like it's more so a business arrangement. What can you bring to my life, and nobody's concerned with what they can bring to somebody else's life. One of the biggest things that has helped my wife and I to be able to survive this long, and actually not even survive, but thrive this long, is the fact that we both are looking for each other, looking at each other's interests and adding to each other. So, for instance, let's say we both got a headache. I don't just go into a corner and focus on my headache while she goes into the corner and focus on her headache. I focus on her headache and getting her well. She focuses on my headache and getting me well. And now we've just added to each other's life. We just added comfort as opposed to us just being alone. And I guess that's the first thing you can talk about, because people have it really, really twisted. And it's probably one of these subjects we can talk about for a few days. I just want to hear from y'all and let me know what you guys think about these subjects. Is it love or is it a business arrangement? Good morning. Good morning. So you asking the question, what does she bring to the table? Right? And that's such, it seems like on the surface, a legitimate question. But when it comes to the way God sees it, it's really not a legitimate question. Because any man who's asking that question does not understand his responsibility in the first place. What does God require of the man? Well, first of all, you should have your own table with your own stuff set, and asking, what am I willing to give from my table? So the question is not really about um, this whole what does she bring to my table? No. And I'm gonna explain that more. But it's not about what she can bring to your table. It's about already having an established table and understanding that I'm willing to give from my table. If you're not in a position to give from your table, then you're not ready for a committed relationship, right? Adam, before God gave him Eve, he gave him a job, right? He did not set Eve up with Adam until he knew that Adam was in a position to take care of Eve. Now, let me just say this. And my wife said, love should always come first. Absolutely. Let me say this. Um, we got to get out of this thing of just trying to figure out what we can take. Understanding that the fact that Adam had a job already, already set, he was already in a position. And my wife would tell you, anything that happens wrong in my house or in our house is my responsibility. It's my fault. I take it on my chin because I am the head of my household. I'm the one who's supposed to make sure that everything goes smoothly. And anything that does not happen correctly is not the kid's fault. It's not my wife's fault. It's my fault. Maybe I didn't uh, set up things to where things can happen. So I'm always looking back on the example I'm setting. What are we doing? You know, if we, and I don't know about you, you may have times where everybody get in the habit of maybe leaving their shoes in this spot or leaving. Well, let me ask the question. They came up with these bad habits. What am I doing? Am I setting the example as a man to be able to make sure that everybody else is doing the right thing? And a lot of times when you see things happening in your house as a man, you're not doing it. And so, but let me push back a little bit on the other side. You have women out there now, and I just finished watching a video because I was trying to really get some perspective when it comes to what we wanted to talk about today. But you have some women now who only seek men for what they can give them. And to an extent, let me just say this, to an extent, that is what they are supposed to do, to an extent. Now, if you're saying, because here it is, Men, you looking at, oh, look at this part of her body, look at that part of her body. You looking at her body, you looking at her face, but and that's what you're looking for, right? Some women, the first thing they want to know where you work, because that's what they're looking for. It's almost like, um, if you look at the anatomy, even the anatomy of a man and woman, her body is set up to receive. Your body is set up to give. I want you to think about that for a second without us being too, you know, getting into it too deep. Look, think about the woman body compared to a man's body. She's set up to receive. And let me just open the chat. But I'm gonna set it so everybody can see what we're saying. Is it showing? Anyway, yeah. So absolutely, she wants to know that she's gonna be secure in a relationship. You want to know, man, is the body right? Is this, that? And you want to know all them things. Then you want to know, can she cook? Can she clean? Can she do this? Can she do that? And the way gender roles are set up now, the women have almost, don't hold the door for me. Don't do this for me. Don't do that for me. And it's confused men. And they're saying, well, if you're not going to let me be the man, okay, what do you bring to the table? If we're doing this from, if you're taking away what makes me feel like a superhero and being able to open your door and do these things for you, if you're taking that away from me, now men are saying, well, what are you bringing to the table? But that's not supposed to be the question. But you do have some women who are gold diggers, who only want the man for the money. But let me just tell you this: every woman is going to try to find out, is the situation she's going into secure? Is she going to be protected? Because one of the things she's thinking about is, am I going to be able to raise my children in a safe environment? Am I going to be able to be in a safe environment myself? And all that comes back to, in our generation, in our society, finance, right? So are we financially stable enough to be able to handle a woman? Because she wants to know. And what men are doing is, because now we have to compete with women in the marketplace, they're feeling less than, left out. I can't compete. I'm only making 30,000 a year. She's making 40,000, right? And now she telling you, you go cook my dinner or whatever, right? And I'm not saying we're not supposed to cook. I love cooking, but I'm just saying things have changed. And I'm gonna share with y'all a couple things on when it comes to this thing. What does she bring to the table? First of all, we already said it. You got to have your table set. If you're a man, a grown man, and you asking for a woman to bring something to the table, you're asking the wrong question. Let me give you an example. If I go grocery shopping, which when we do any big grocery shopping, most of the time I go, I think. But I come in and I bring the groceries and I put them on the table. Most of the time, and this is just out of habit, not saying that any man's supposed to do this or not supposed to do this, but my habit is I always just leave them on the table. And my daughter and my wife immediately start putting stuff away, doing what they need to do with it. For some reason, this is the way it works. I'm not saying it's you're supposed to do this or not supposed to do. In my house, normally this is how it works. If they're here, I'll bring in the groceries, put them on the table, and they start doing what they need to do with them. What's happening there? I've already brought to the table. Now it's time for things to happen where she begins to incubate. And this is one of the key things I want to talk to y'all today about. A woman's job, a man's job is to give. A woman's job is to take what you give, incubate what you give, and give it back to you better than how she got it. So stop asking what she brings to the table when you're not giving her anything to bring back to you better than it was. Here it is example. You give her groceries, she gives you a meal. You give her a house, she makes it a home. You give her a seed, she makes it a baby, right? And this is some teaching. Some of y'all saying this is straight from Miles Monroe. He taught before he died. You cannot sit up and say, "What does she bring to the table?" if you not haven't given her anything to incubate and bring back. And I looked at it online. You know, you have these guys up here. I mean, clowns. They keep asking, "What does she bring to the table?" And you're going to be frustrated as a man, constantly asking what she brings to the table when you've never given her anything to bring back. Now, this is not the case for all women. All women are not set up that way. So stop trying to put everybody in the same group. That's not her. She's a businesswoman. She does what she do. Fine. But I'm talking about women and men who have made up in their minds that they want to build a legacy and they're trying to find somebody to build that legacy with. You can't sit back and say, as a man, she ain't bring nothing to the table. You're setting the table. And she takes what's on your table and makes it better. She's an incubator. A man is a natural giver, and a woman is a natural incubator. It happens that way. And it's not something that you coming in, can change. Whether you like it or not, it's the case. Y'all men, y'all don't understand what it's like who maybe haven't experienced this. Us married men who have good wives understand what it means to leave, come back, and you got a clean house and a meal. It's nothing better. And when you got a good wife, when she shows up, it makes the house better. You coming in here, you got stuff everywhere, this, that, and she comes in and literally brings light to your home. This means that she's an incubator. She takes what you give and she makes it better. Anybody agree with that? Disagree? We're willing to talk. And let me go ahead and put my link in the chat. So if you want to come on the show, you can just click that link and I'll bring you on in. You want to give your take. This will be interesting if y'all do this. I want to hear somebody's take on this. Is it love or is it a business arrangement? I think this topic should last for a couple of days, right? But it's about understanding, when you got a weak man, he's not interested in giving. He's interested in what he can take, right? He wants to know what all I can get from this relationship. But you got to be to the point where if I'm going to have a successful relationship, both parties are supposed to give. Now, if you have a woman who doesn't fit that mold, that's fine. Every woman is not going to fit that mold. If you have a man who doesn't fit that role, fine. Every man doesn't fit that role. But when you're talking about building a legacy, then that's what you're talking about. So let me ask a question. What's the purpose of the overall couple? If you asking me what I'm bringing to the table, and I'm asking you, see you later, sweetheart. And I'm asking you what you're bringing to the table, we both got to figure out what's the purpose of the relationship, where we trying to get, what's the goal. And when I was looking at this, I started to call my wife like, this is awesome. But God showed me something a few minutes ago. He said that he wants to make the kingdom of God come here to earth. He said, "Thou kingdom come, thou will be done on earth just like it's done in heaven." He wants the kingdom of heaven to be expressed here on earth. God does, right? So what's our job as a couple? Our job as a couple, as a married couple, and I want my wife to hear this too, because this is fresh off the press. Our job as a couple is to make heaven here on earth. Our house, our whatever we do in our jobs, should be a direct manifestation, a direct reflection of what heaven is like. I like that. Thy kingdom come, thy kingdom in heaven come here on earth. And so I want to find somebody, if I'm single, who can help me bring the kingdom of God, heaven, right here on earth. That's so beautiful. When you can find somebody who you're not trying to figure out what you can get from them, you're trying to figure out how me and you, how we can create heaven here on earth. So the question becomes, sweetheart, what does heaven look like for you? She asking me, what does heaven look like for you? Because I want to know, what do we have to do in our life, in our business, in our everyday life to make heaven come here on earth? In our sexual life, what does it look like for heaven to come here on earth? And that's why, good God Almighty, that's why God put Eve with Adam in the first place. He said, it's not good that man be alone. And a lot of y'all trying to figure out what she brings. She makes it so you don't have to be alone. And you said, well, I can hire somebody. No. You can't hire anybody to do what she does. And so you got to put some respect on these women's name. Now, I know that I can't speak to where the dating scene is right now. And I know that there's some treacherous women out there. We all can agree on that. But check this out. You got to find that wife that makes things better for you, that can bring heaven here on earth. And I think that in every relationship, and I hope my wife can, pretty sure she can attest to this, that we've had a little slice of heaven every now and then. How can we continue to make that happen in our relationship? How can we build this legacy? How can God's love be expressed here on earth through our lives? I think, more than anything, people have always, when they seen us, looked at us and said, oh, that's a power couple. That's a power couple. Y'all this, y'all that. And people have literally sought out advice from us, and we've counseled different couples to try to figure out, what, because people are looking at us. And my screen went black. Hold on, y'all. I think y'all still there. But people are looking at us and trying to figure out, how in the world can God's love be expressed like that in our lives? Let me try to find out what's going on, y'all. This screen be going black sometimes. Lord have mercy. Mm-mm-mm. Let me finish out. Maybe they'll come back on. Hopefully you guys are still on. I can't even see it. But it's the devil trying to stop us. But think about it. It's not a business arrangement. It's not, oh, let me figure out how much he makes or how much she makes. No, let's create it together. When my wife and I met, I ain't had no money. I still don't got no money. But we created a life together, and it's we want still got places we want to go, but we created a life together that we can be proud of. And we created some moments here on earth that we can say that was just like heaven. So our job is to bring heaven here on earth, right? Give me a sec, y'all, because I don't know where we at. But while we're doing that, I want y'all to participate in the chat. Let me know what you think about this. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Screen was completely black. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off. But hopefully, you guys are having a great morning this morning. And I pray that when we're starting to build relationships and we get in different relationships with people, let's figure out how to make heaven come here on earth. And that's through making sure that you're not just looking for what you can get or what you can give. Man, men, stop listening to these soft, weak men telling you that you got to find a woman to bring finances to your life, or you got to find her to bring this. It's great if she does have finances. And women, stop trying to judge your man based on, or you make more money than him. That's not, that's not something, you make more money, great. He could be making more money than you tomorrow. So let's not get into that, and let's not try to figure out and compete with each other. Love doesn't compete, right? Men, let's get over our ego. Let's learn how to allow um, our women to be great and stop trying to fight against it because you feel like, oh, she's getting better than me. That's a weak man's mentality. So I thank you guys. I'm just gonna cut the computer off and see what happens because I can't see the screen. But I hope you guys are doing well. It's the Pastor Lloyd Morning Show. I'm logging off. I'm just cutting the computer off.